Do It Live.
Hey everybody, welcome to We'll Do It Live, which is Newsbroke's live show here. This is the second time we're doing it. We're coming to you from San Francisco, California. I'm Francesca Fiorentini, and I am joined here with Kate Elston, our amazing producer, and we have a very special guest this Friday, all the way from LA, from the Young Turks political commentator. You've seen his work, The Breakdown, on Facebook. He puts the bro in Bernie Bro. Welcome to Hasan Piker, everybody.
All right.
When I said, give me whatever intro you want to, I didn't realize you were going to call me a Bernie bro.
Just right off the bat.
Are you offended by that?
Well, given your, I know I have a pretty peripheral understanding of your political opinions. I don't take that as in a more like a Paul Krugman kind of way, because when he says it, he means it.
Right.
He's like, all Bernie supporters are like male jocks that just like care about socialism.
I'm still convinced that the Bernie bro term was pretty much a Bernie bot term, honestly. But that's a whole other conversation, of course. It all comes down to Russia bots. But the other thing I was going to call you was a brogressive. Is that offensive?
I don't know. I don't really mind it. Obviously, I am a bro. So, a lot of people on the alt-right frequently call me Brown Fabio, or just like worse terms that
Brown
I can't
Fabio.
really mention. Yeah, that's like their slang for.
Was Fabio?
I thought Fabio was brown.
No, it's because they're saying like first they think that like the term brown is like offensive towards someone. I don't know why that would be like diminishing me in any way, but and then they say Fabio because I look good.
Right.
I think it's a very weird. It's a very weird
you heard
dismissal.
It here first.
So also
Hasan knows he looks good.
We have to also show the Newsbroke viewers and the AJ Plus viewers that we found a jank mask in our office, and we don't know.
Not just in any part of the office, but what you guys were referring to as the Al Gore room, which I think is just extra funny.
Well, yeah.
There's a lot of things happening here right now. I'm glad you guys are taking this. You have to dig yourself out of this hole.
We're improvising. This is UCB 101.
Absolutely. No.
Yes,
sometimes we wear jank masks in AJ Plus's office. It's not weird.
It does look like Jank's head on a spike, though, and his eyes cut out. It's a little
listen,
creepy.
At least we took the blood out of the eyes. But anyway, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here.
Yeah, I'm so happy to be here.
We're going to be talking about this week's news. For those of you who've been following any fraction of the myriad of things that have been going on this week, there's no shortage of stuff to talk about. We want to focus specifically right now on healthcare. This week we had two bills that were not even brought to the Senate floor. Remember, there has been no discussion about the repeal and replace of Obamacare, but they were tanked before they even had any kind of legs whatsoever. One of them was the Better Care Reconciliation Act. This is the repeal and replace, and that tanked early on in the week. Then later, Republicans were kind of trying to float this just repeal. Okay, let's just, first do no harm, or in this case, do
all the harm.
Do all the harm, right. And that also didn't fly because of
a bunch of women who were, closed out of those discussions were like, we ain't voting for that. So,
So my question is on Newsbroke Live, for We'll Do It Live, we're going to start a new tradition that I just started right now, which is my very Trump move, which is called, What Will Happen? Hasan, what will happen to healthcare?
It's a really weird concept that the poor people that by and large voted for Donald Trump, thinking that he was going to be this populist leader who was going to take care of them in ways that they've never been taken care of before, all of a sudden we're like, wait a minute, we need this healthcare thing. Like, we need it. It's not chill if you just kind of take that away from us in an effort to give basically a $600 billion tax cut to the upper 1%. And who would have thought that would be an unpopular bill? But apparently it is. And now they're suffering for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the New York Times just had today an article where they're interviewing voters who 5 years ago were absolutely against Obamacare, and now they're like, wait,
it's good though.
Oh, doctors.
It's good. Yeah, I mean, you can't take things away from people, and I think Donald Trump is realizing that. And well, if you guys remember our Newsbroke piece from last week, clearly Donald Trump has no idea what he's talking about when it comes to healthcare. But if you ask him, it sounds like what he wants is Obamacare. He talks about not letting people die on the streets. He talks about but making it a private plan only.
Because he knows what Hasan is saying. He knows that his voters don't. He doesn't want to let them down.
So he doesn't. But he also wants to win. He also wants to promise the chunk of people that he will repeal this thing that he said he would repeal. So it's like he's just back in
rock in a hard place.
First you said Donald Trump, and then you said thinks, and then you said healthcare, and I have a serious disagreement with that, because Donald Trump, I'm not even entirely sure knows what healthcare is.
Good point.
Because in the New York Times interview that he recently did, that was like somewhat impromptu. If you've read that transcript, it's definitely hilarious, but also terrifying. You should go check that out.
Awful.
He briefly mentions the healthcare plan that he has in mind. He's like, what's the big deal with healthcare? You pay $1 a month, you pay $12 a year, and then it gets better when you're 70.
It's like, it's not Spotify. What are we talking about?
He's describing like
I think he thinks it's like a weird, it sounds like a 401k. It's like a weird form of life insurance, maybe. Like people are speculating as if Donald Trump knows what the hell he's talking about, but in reality, he really doesn't. He's frequently mistaken Medicare for Medicaid throughout the campaign trail, where he's like, I'm never going to touch Medicaid. It's not going to happen. And people are like, whoa, wait a minute, what? Like, what did you just say? And he's tweeted it out. And now people are like, maybe he doesn't know what any of this means.
Right. I mean, this is what happens when the rich run everything, who've never ever had to rely on the government, are then in charge of the government. Of course they see no problem with obliterating things that the government provides.
But Donald Trump has said over and over again, from the late 90s when he was planning a run all the way up until this election, that the government should help people, and there shouldn't be people, as he puts it like 100 times, dying on the street. So it's like deep down somewhere in his overly like gross, about to like kill him heart, because it's really unhealthy, I imagine, he really believes that the government should help people. Like he said that, and whether or not that, I don't know, it's like he says that.
So morally, like I guess what you're trying to say is like from a moral standpoint, Donald Trump is like better than Mitch McConnell, who only cares about turtle lives and potentially just like and just making sure that he himself is the singular force of power in the Senate, and Republicans can grab onto whatever they can, or Paul Ryan, who has mentioned in the past that he gets actual hard-ons when he thinks about cutting social services that he himself has taken advantage of in the past when he was growing up.
Did he actually?
So
that's his background.
Yeah, his father passed away from alcoholism, and I believe Paul Ryan paid for college through that. He's admitted it as well. It's like a classic Republican kick the ladder after you rise up, so that other people can't take advantage of it.
And for me, it's okay, because I knew what I was doing. And
also,
I'm okay.
Mitch McConnell apparently had polio when he was a kid.
Yeah, but I looked into that, and I looked at the background of that. I thought that was like he did. He had polio, and then he actually refused to speak to a polio healthcare group when he was concocting the first iteration of the BCRA. How can we murder more poor people so that wealthy people can have more money to buy jet skis? Or something.
Kick the disease ladder out from I don't know.
But so what will happen though? What do we think? Like next week they're voting on something on Tuesday.
Okay, wait. Let me just say that Trump this week on healthcare said, 1, we should repeal Obamacare without a replacement. But then he said, after after the first thing collapsed, I guess he said, let's just let Obamacare fail. Like you don't have to really repeal it, just sort of like by attrition, not fund it. And then he just urged the GOP senators to go back and develop a replacement. So he said 3 different things in the span of a week. This is obviously, it's typical our prez. Hashtag sadly America. Our prez.
So the thing that's interesting is, the GOP has tried to repeal in many instances. I think what's the exact number? 50.
Gosh, I'm gonna look it up right now.
It's like 50 something times. I'm not entirely sure, but the GOP has tried to repeal it. But now we realize more and more that the GOP was like kind of protected because they knew that Obama was going to veto it regardless. So they were just like, yeah, we look strong to our constituents because they hate Obama because he's a Muslim Kenyan ISIS sympathizer. That's what Fox News at least tells them.
Or created ISIS.
So created ISIS. He's a Muslim sympathizer. Sorry. How dare I, just mess that up. So because of that, they were like, of course we're going to take away Obamacare. We're going to repeal it. It's going to be great. It's going to be glorious. Now we're realizing when they do actually have the opportunity to repeal it, and that they've seen this insane, unprecedented amount of resistance against it, because Republicans and Democrats both need health care, and now that they have more affordable, like a more affordable version of it, and it's still not perfect. It's unfortunately still not perfect. It still needs to. A lot needs to be done there. They realize they don't want it. They don't want to get it taken away.
Right.
Like this accountability, pick yourself up by your bootstraps mentality doesn't work. Like healthcare is not, it's not a privilege. It shouldn't be a privilege. It should be something that the government provides for its citizens.
And I think we've passed a threshold here. I think that there's no going back on this healthcare debate, and I think it's on the Democrats to even push it even farther. I think some progressive Dems, like Elizabeth Warren, are pushing it, but it would be a hugely missed opportunity if Democrats at this point were like, trying to stave off the single payer discussion and trying to actually just go for it.
But they are doing that. They did that in California, and the problem with that is that Democrats, by and large, especially moderate, centrist, like a term I like to call neoliberal, neoliberals are...
Our audience knows what neoliberalism is.
Yes, they are still very much on board with, like means testing and corporate strategies, and they care about what the pharmaceutical industry has to say. They care about what the insurance industry has to say, because they still line their pockets with their corporate donations. So in the end of the day, it's still very, like, they haven't still gotten around to that perspective that it's like, hey, like, if you're truly progressive, you can hold on to truly progressive ideologies. Like, you don't have to look for reasons to criticize more moderate legislation because you think it's unfeasible economically. Like, Donald Trump doesn't make sense even, and people still vote for him because they thought he had a more positive message. He had a message of change. So just let's go a little bit more progressive. Like, what happened since the 90s?
I just want to remind our viewers to please comment. Tell us your thoughts on the healthcare bill. What do you think is going to happen? And play our game with us. What will happen?
What happens?
What happens?
We actually didn't answer that. Can I just answer?
What happens?
What happens?
Okay, so what happens is they pass this like repeal bill, and then the House is a bunch of like light David Dukes anyway, so they're just like, let's go. This is like what we've been waiting for. We love the Freedom Caucus, and then they pass it, and then Donald Trump does one of his glorious like legislation signing ceremonies.
Where
poor people are bankrupted by more and more and more medical debt until like 8 years down the line, or somehow like somewhere along the line, people are going to realize like, wait a minute, like Republicans also are screwing us over, and then there's an armed revolution. And because like there won't be an armed revolution if it's just like those like suburban bi-coastal elites just upset at the government. Like the NRA loving gun nuts need to get behind this as well and realize like, wait a minute, like my mom has cancer and she can't pay for herself, but her bootstraps, and then they're going to force the armed revolution and like some sort of change.
So season 8 of Game of Thrones goes down over healthcare after it does get repealed.
I mean, I think that's very likely. People are not aware of this, but like Mitch McConnell has a lot of money to throw around right now. Essentially, like through that $600 billion, what he's trying to do is like chip away from the tax cuts to the wealthy to just kind of feed off certain states like Alaska and other other state senators to just bribe them and be like, look, it's going to be fine. Like for the first couple of years, your constituents won't even notice. Like especially for the midterms, your constituents won't even notice. Like you'll get a W.
I see what you're saying, but I think it's still a hard road. Only 4 Republicans have to say no to this for it to be dead in the water.
I think Republicans are amazing at one thing, and that is towing the party line as long as you cut taxes for everyone, but especially the wealthy.
I also think that a lot of like, we know that a lot of moderate Republican senators have come out against it, especially in states where Medicaid expansion has done well for their constituents. Like, we have Lisa Murkowski of Alaska and Susan Collins of Maine, and then Rob Portman, sort of, yeah. But then I think underneath that you have a lot of other Republican senators who don't like it, but aren't going to be the first person to have the press conference. So if it does tank, they'll be like, yeah, totally, I was against it, totally,
right.
yeah.
No, they're terrified.
So I hope that it just takes, two ladies, because the ladies are the ones that, get it done, that they'll come out against it, like Lisa and Susan, and then other people will follow suit. And
I feel like Republicans are just circling on flights and jets because they can't go home because there's too many, whiny constituents. They can't be in D.C. because they have to actually do something. Yeah. So we're just gonna circle.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like Mitch McConnell won't let them have recess, so they're just like running around town. Like, I don't know where to go. And look, the point is though, to leave this off on a more positive note.
I have a question from a person then after that.
Oh, okay. What I will say is that it is amazing that in this country, people do in one way or another. Like, maybe it's because of the internet, maybe it's because Jake Tapper somehow finds his balls and questions the president, and I use him as an example of that classic pundit circle that normally doesn't really question the administration at all. People are aware that they will lose their health care, and that's a good thing, and people are resisting. Like, people are going out to town halls and screaming, they're protesting,
they're arrested in Congress,
and they're getting arrested. And then at some point, I'm assuming DC police is going to be like, hey guys, we can't arrest any more people in wheelchairs. Like, this is really bad optics for both you guys, and also morally I have a problem with this. Sure. Like, I came here
Let's just wait on the cops to have a heart.
Yeah, I became a police officer so I could pull over people and maybe occasionally see a boob or something when I give them a ticket. Or just kind of.
Is that what you thought when you were little? I want to be a police officer and maybe see a boob.
I'm just assuming off of what I've seen in media and also what I've covered so extensively. Not the boob stuff. I was gonna say maybe pull over black people and exercise my force on them because they picked on me in school or something.
So we sort of already talked about this, but we got a question from Frankie Griffin. Hey, Frankie. Does Congress have the wherewithal to actually implement a replacement? They seem so unaware of how to run a government program. And it's true. It's like you said, they've been hammering, we're going to repeal. Okay, you have a majority, go. And they're like, But
by the way, that's something I'm careful with too. I have not yet been like, oh, you guys suck. You couldn't even repeal this thing now that you have majority. Because I'm worried that those idiots will be like, yeah, you know what? Wait, let's just do it. But
to actually devise something that's better than Obamacare.
But I think this is the whole point with healthcare in this country is and Trump is right. It is complicated, but we all knew it was going to be complicated, and he just is figuring that out. But this is our first foray into some sort of government subsidized, other than of course Medicaid and Medicare, government subsidized plan, and it was a Republican plan. It was a plan super backed by pharmaceutical companies and the insurance companies, and so this is the best plan thus far. And so when it comes to having some kind of viable replacement other than take away Medicare, which is just total Medicaid, right?
Yeah.
Which is, but it's BS. But that really is, that's the only new bright idea under the sun here is just taking health insurance away from poor people.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but what I'm saying is that in the reality, if we just departisan everything, is that it's tough. And that moving forward, Obamacare does have to be better. And so how can it be? And how can we, single payer, Medicare for all?
We're not, that's going to be almost impossible with the amount of moderate, supposedly woke Democrats that we have in Congress. But maybe one day, hopefully, when they get their act together. But yeah.
Before, are we wrapping up?
I think we need to wrap up.
Okay, Jeremiah Beaver says he recommends healthcare reporting from The Intercept and the Young Turks Politics, doing good healthcare coverage. And he also says, Jeremiah, Hasan, glad to see you've toned down the bling.
Wow.
This is not toned down. Oh yeah, I used to wear it on all of my fingers, rings sometimes. It really upsets people.
What is the story with
Clearly, it upsets people. Some people just pay really close attention to your digits.
Yeah.
Speaking of digits,
you
can I
talk
get
like
them?
this a lot too, so I mean, I think it's noticeable. Yeah.
I don't know.
On these videos, on your
Making
videos.
a-
I like.
Any hoodle.
Yeah, I just because I sit down.
Yeah.
That's why, and like I have my arms in front of me, and I use my hands a lot when I'm normally talking because I'm Turkish. But I don't know. I like accessorizing, and I think that that's just very much a part of me. And I am fortunate enough to be able to work somewhere, and especially on the internet, on a platform where I can be myself.
Where
and
it's expected
still-
of you to bling out.
And still, yeah, it's like if you're not blinging out, are you even doing political
Yeah,
commentary?
I can't
or like,
pay attention to what you're saying
Yeah.
right now
Yeah.
without a pinky ring. Let's move
Yeah.
on.
Let's move
Okay,
on.
because Sean Spicer today resigned, y'all. This is amazing, right? The press secretary is now being replaced by Sarah Huckabee Sanders. You've probably seen
Is
her.
that for real? That's true?
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
she's accepted that position. Congratulations, Sarah. And her daughter, what was her daughter's name again?
Oh, yeah, that she talks about the 5-year-old daughter.
Anyhow,
Charlotte.
Congratulations to Charlotte.
Charlotte, your mom is selling out.
Your mom is crazy pants. But also this week, Trump spoke to the New York Times. If you guys read any of that interview, listened to any of that interview, it was quite striking and upsetting because it didn't make a lot of sense. But two big takeaways from that. One, Trump essentially threw his most loyal ride or die chick under the bus, which is Jeff Sessions. He said,
I was waiting. Like, did he say anything about Kellyanne Conway? Like,
well, no, it's definitely, little Keebler Sessions there was thrown under the bus because Trump said, if I had known that he was going to recuse himself of the Russia investigation, I would have never appointed him to be Attorney General in the first place.
guys, when I was
Brilliant.
colluding with a foreign adversary, I didn't realize that the racist Attorney General that I was electing, I was assigning to that position, was then going to be like, hey, I don't want to be involved in this because like I have enough dirt on me that I could, potentially be implicated. So I'm just going to go ahead and recuse myself. It's just like when you're going to collude and you have if you have an idea that a child basically wrote essentially, where it's like you're going to collude out in the open, you're going to admit that you're colluding,
right.
and then you're going to be fine because you can pardon people. I'm assuming that's how he thinks it works.
Yeah, I didn't
and
realize
now we
the
know that
Attorney
like
General-
his aides are looking into that. Like sources
Yeah.
close to the matter were reporting last night that I think it was Washington Post and like Weigel was talking about it, where it's like people are like. Trump's legislators, like his team, is now looking into like the broad pardoning powers of the presidency, which is something I feel like you should already know. But regardless, like the fact that they're looking into it now is like okay. And
I
also
also didn't know
Robert
you could
Mueller.
pardon I thought you had to wait till you were done being president to pardon, or can you pardon whenever?
No, you can pardon
Okay.
whenever, but
Isn't it like the last 3 days?
That's what I-
like,
maybe that's what people do.
No.
Pew,
Yeah,
pew.
that's you can
People-
pardon whenever, but that's usually when people do it. Like that's
To save,
it's
to
like
be
a
like,
last.
and I'm out. Mic
Yeah.
drop. Yeah.
One other thing that he did say, other than throwing Jeff Sessions under the bus, is that Robert Mueller, if he begins to investigate Trump's financial ties and potential ties to Russia, that would be a red line.
Crossing the line.
And as we know, the special prosecutor, Robert Mueller, who is looking into the Trump campaign's ties to Russia, could effectively be fired by Trump.
Yeah,
if
that
he
was the
decided.
third. Those two statements were on my Twitter timeline, I think 3 seconds apart, where it was like New York Times reports like Donald Trump very angry at Robert Mueller if he Robert Mueller crosses the line, and then literally like one tweet above it, it was like Robert Mueller looking into Donald Trump's private enterprise. It's like it's so
Right.
ridiculous.
So, what will happen?
What happens?
Hassan?
Do
tell
I
us.
go creative with this one as well,
Sure.
like, as I did?
Let's do another
What will
TV show
happen,
instead of Game of
Newsbroke?
Thrones. It's what's it called, House of Cards.
So Donald Trump is like a chemistry teacher, and he's very upset
Cool.
at his life. He might have cancer, and
Who's
then he
Jesse
decides.
Reince
no, I'm
Priebus.
just kidding. Anyway,
Totally.
Reince Priebus. No, what happens here?
Bannon is Tuco, man. Tight,
Oh,
tight,
hell
tight,
yeah.
tight, tight, tight.
Honestly, what
Bannon
happens?
is
What
okay.
happens here is to take it back to a more serious matter. But what happens here is that Donald Trump probably does fire Robert Mueller, and then the Republican propaganda machine, now also backed by St. Clair Broadcasting, just feeds this misinformation to the public, and the Republican side and Republican congressional Congress Republicans also then toe the line of the party because whatever Donald Trump says, he has so much power because Fox News basically repeats everything he's saying or everything he means to say. It's like this weird cycle.
And yet
then
Fox is starting to turn a little bit on this. I feel like even for Fox, they're like...
Because Shepard Smith and
Yeah.
Krauthammer said things that are like sane, like moderately sane. I don't give them that like freedom just because like...
And they're different too because they're like anchors. They're like news on the news side of it. Where with Fox and Friends
also,
and Tucker Carlson are the commentary side of it.
Someone brought this up. This interesting thing about Shepard Smith is that I think I kind of agree with it. I think that he came out specifically so that it would look really bad if they fired him. And once he came out, he was like, I can be honest now. You know what I mean? Because it would look really bad for Fox News if they were like, if they fired Shepard Smith for just right after he came out.
So just to kind of like test his limits and like how far the leash goes?
No, more like it would look really bad and
this point
potentially
to fire
like
him?
discriminatory if they fired him for just, it would look like they fired him for, he could easily be like, you're firing me for being gay.
Right.
So it's speculation, but maybe. But I think that gives him a little bit more like leeway to say what he actually thinks. I don't know what Tucker Carlson actually thinks. I don't know if Sean Hannity thinks at all.
No,
but,
for sure not.
Yeah, but in general, I think they're just going to normalize this behavior. They're going to be like, look, everyone fires the guy investigating them while they're investigating the case why he fired the original guy to begin with.
It's upsetting because
normal.
There's a small part of me that, thinks in the sort of, in the mind of a Senate Republican, like, what do you do? If you can't repeal Obamacare, you're going to have to talk about Russia. And if you can't talk about, if you can't repeal Obamacare, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like they're caught between Russia and healthcare. I feel like they just need to move on and be like, net neutrality is done. Like, what else? What else should they do?
Yeah. Are they going to talk about net neutrality? That's awful.
Right,
awful. Like, no one wants that. That has like bipartisan support from constituents.
Sure.
Like, everyone hates net neutrality being taken away.
Right.
Especially like the R. Donald people. Like, they love net neutrality.
Yeah.
Like, they don't want to get 4chan. Like, they don't want to go on their favorite forum where they can.
Yeah, they thrive off of 4chan. They need it.
Repost Nazi propaganda, and when you want to do that, like the speeds are slower because 4chan doesn't want to pay Verizon, doesn't have enough money because they're not backed by advertisers. That's not going to work.
All right, I'm going to move on to another story, which I feel like you'd like, Hasan. Fidget spinners are now the new target of the Russian government because apparently after a viral video of opposition leader Alexei Navalny went viral, of him with a fidget spinner, now Russian Consumer Protection Agency is launching an investigation into the fidget spinner to see whether it is actually an instrument for zombifying the Russian population. And actually now they're encouraging people to buy fidget spinners from official dealers and not on the streets.
Yo, you want a fidget spinner?
Like I got mine on the street. I don't even know how to do it with one hand. But anyway, apparently these little guys are telling everyone that Putin is an authoritarian and that...
what does yours have on it?
What is yours telling you?
Mine is telling me...
Wait, is that a hammer and sickle? What's on your fidget spinner?
What's your fidget spinner telling you?
My fidget spinner is telling me just not to talk about Russia anymore, that like fake news and definitely...
Oh, this is the special Rupert Murdoch edition of fidget spinners.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh yeah, it's the media misinformation fidget spinner. It's very good.
I love it.
It works really well.
What do you think? What's going to happen to spinners?
What happens?
First, to go back to the origination of this story, I think that when you operate as a dictatorship, because you're so successful at completely shutting down your opposition in any way, shape, or form, and sometimes even setting up your own pawns as like fake opposition to make it seem like this is a democratic republic. Like chill, like look, there's opposing forces here. As they like prop them up with a stick, it's like a dead body. But anyway, yeah. That when you run out of things to demonize, to vilify, you then start looking at weird shit like fidget spinners, like as if that's the biggest threat to Russia.
I'm sure Donald Trump feels the same way. But you know that Barron Trump had a fidget spinner? There was like a video of him walking off the
that's
plane
true,
with
so he
it.
can't be.
Here's a good analogy. I think the Russian government looking into fidget spinners is like Donald Trump constantly going back to but her emails, or like Hillary Clinton was a fraud and a
Or
fake.
voter fraud.
Or just like creating fake, non-existent BS to just fill the airwaves, and he knows that people will immediately follow through and go, yeah, he's right, but Hillary's emails, you're right, like. And that's basically our form of fidget spinner.
Absolutely. I mean, exactly. It's the fact that your opposition leader could look semi-cool is like, but I rode on a horse naked. Like, damn it! I thought that was gonna do it.
Next, we're gonna see Putin like using a skip it or something. Like the guy can just skip it.
What's he gonna bring
love
back?
that you imply that using fidget spinners are cool, which is wow. That's surprising, but.
Are they not cool? Do I have to burn mine now?
Are they over?
Are we done?
Fidget spinners over, you guys?
Are they off
Maddox.
fleek?
I'm still learning how to use a fidget spinner because when I use a fidget spinner, it makes me more nervous because I'm like,
Don't drop it, don't drop it.
Hit your face.
Yeah.
Or something.
All right, well, Hasan, let's talk about what you do. Now that we've heard how you do.
Finally, you guys, I've been sitting here thinking, like, when are we going to talk about what really matters? Me.
Hasan, well, okay, so if you're just joining us, this is Newsbroke's We'll Do It Live, which is our second edition of our live show here in San Francisco, California.
Yep.
Hasan is our guest. Kate Elston is an amazing producer on Newsbroke. That bark was a dog in
named
our office.
Clove.
This is this is exactly how you would imagine a San Francisco office to look like.
Hasan was chilling on a beanbag earlier.
I was sitting on a beanbag. There's like dogs. One dog vomited. It was chill.
It's
Like,
so
it's
chill.
We
not a
wiped
big
it up
deal.
with just a $100 bill. Like,
Yeah, we were just like,
San
man,
Francisco.
VC funding everywhere. It's like the fridges are stocked up. There's all kinds of cereal here, you guys. I mean, I'm just saying, it's good.
Get it.
It's a good
Life
life.
is
There's
excellent.
brick, is exposed brick, which is essential for a San Francisco anything.
Absolutely. Okay, stop
Sorry.
offending us. Now I'm offended. No, but okay.
But back to you.
Don't touch my brick.
Yeah, don't touch my VC money.
Brick is all we have.
That's what sets us apart. No, okay, so you have started doing, when did you start doing the breakdown?
So originally, I was doing it because I wanted to figure out if the structure was feasible, like whether we could do it logistically at the Young Turks on our entertainment and pop culture channel on a little segment I called Pop Crunch, which was like a different segment on Pop Trigger is the pop culture channel, but the segment was called Pop Crunch. And I kind of hated my life a little bit because I was like trying to put like a more political spin on like Kim Kardashian's ass, and it was very difficult. And eventually they assigned me on to take over the Facebook page, and I started doing political commentary in that same
And they
format.
regret the day that they entrusted you
Yeah,
with
they
it.
were like, this is a horrible, what happened? Why did we let him do any of this?
But you're getting awesome views, and really, you know, you call it the breakdown, but I do see a lot of your videos as takedown videos.
They are.
And they're responding to right-wingers videos, Tomi Lahren, the NRA, and then they're also responding to pop culture, and I think you do a great job of mixing that.
Thank you.
I want to just say, though, you know, one critique, I think...
Should we show one before we show the...
I was going to lead into it, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, we can show it. Should we...
Let's show it.
I mean, you can just... You want to do it? Wait.
Do it.
Well, okay,
Let's do it.
So one person that you've had in your liberal crosshairs has been Tomi Lahren, formerly of The Blaze, who, you know, was very famous for her right-wing rants, and...
I feel hard, like, it kind of sucks to call them right-wing rants, because, like, I'm sure, I mean, they're super successful.
They're substantive.
They're very popular. Like, a lot of people share them. So
Yeah.
obviously a lot of people are like, that, I like that.
Yeah.
She's saying things I want to say, right? But I want to believe that in America, conservatism isn't so deeply tied into just being a racist asshole.
Sure. Well,
You know what I mean?
let's watch a little bit of your takedown, the breakdown of Tomi Lahren.
Are you or
throwing the video.
someone you love having difficulty accepting the fact Donald Trump won the presidency?
Are you or someone you love realizing that Donald Trump won the presidency, but your lives are still miserable? Do you say stuff like, the gays can get a day, why can't we? Or, Blacks get a full month, completely discounting the fact that these communities were persecuted and vilified for something they could not change about themselves. Are you offended that the radical left won't respect your president, even though you respected the Muslim Kenyan ISIS sympathizer? You may be suffering from acute chronic snowflakeism.
And that's like one of many different videos that you've done, right? About Tomi Lahren.
Oh no, I think this is delayed.
Oh. Yeah, I've done many Tomi Lahren videos. A lot of people.
It's Lahren, like laryngitis. I've heard her pronounce it.
I know. I refuse. I understand. It's hard for me to say it. A lot of people say my name incorrectly, so I don't really care. It's easier for me to say it. Piker, but it's whatever.
Oh. Yikes.
But yeah, I don't really care too much about it. Like, it's that I, across the board, don't really place
You don't
a lot
know how
of
to pronounce
value
my
in-
last name. It's
yeah,
fine.
I know. I asked you. It's like Fiorentini?
Hey. Oh, bravo. All right. I just want to touch
Scaramucci.
you. Scaramucci, welcome to the circus.
But do you feel like with videos like that, which really do take down, like, point by point her points, do you feel like you would rather do this in person with her because it's almost like shooting fish in a barrel?
Yeah, absolutely. And time again, like originally the conversation started, the video started, and I was like jokingly asking her out on a date. And that was obviously a joke. Some people, like conservative blogs, were like, wait a minute, he's sexist. And
Now we care about sexism.
Yeah, now they were like, now we care about sexism. Also, like, look at this other article in the related search bar for 12 times Lena Dunham's clitoris showed, and ew, like that's like they're literally like they were side by side. Like, look at all these women not shaving their armpits. Also, Hasan Piker is sexist. Yeah, no, I have asked her time and time again. I've invited her to debate me, and she refuses to do so. There are certain times where we have even like officially talked to one another through our back channels. I guess that makes it unofficial.
Officially back channel.
And
Yeah.
she is officially backtracked and refuses to debate me. I don't know why. Like, I am here.
Do you want
to the Al Jazeera Plus audience? You guys hear it here once again.
Which camera should you look into?
Tomi Lahren. I am open
Tomi.
to debating you whenever you want, wherever you want. As long as it's not in Dallas. I'm a little worried that like her audience has a lot more guns than me, so
For sure.
my audience.
Some neutral territory.
Like
Could
a
you do it
neutral
here?
territory.
At
Vegas. We'll just make it a show.
Maybe.
We will all go to Vegas as Newsbroke. Hasan Piker or Piquet.
Y'all talking about, you know, Mayweather versus Conor McGregor when this is the real shit.
Tomi Lahren versus Hasan Piker.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think you would destroy her. I don't think she has.
I think she knows that too, and I have time and time again. Look, there are a lot of things to admire about Tomi Lahren too. Like, this is, in the end of the day, she is my age. I think she's maybe a year younger than me. And she's made a name for herself using the internet in a similar way that I have to be able to talk to this broad audience that, and this would previously been impossible when it was only traditional media.
Let me ask you, two questions. One, do you know if she actually watches your videos?
Yeah,
about her?
she retweeted one of my videos, the snowflake video that you guys showed. She
Right.
retweeted it and was like, "Y'all call yourselves the Young Turks. I call y'all fans." I was like,
Oh.
This is
That's what
why
she
I
tells
think
herself.
she probably writes some of her own videos, especially now that she's like operating out of her basement. Because that was just really bad. Like, that was just a bad diss. Like, there's so many things you could have said. I don't know.
like progressive.
Yeah.
Like progressive, like the bro and Bernie
yeah.
bro. The other thing I was going to ask, like, do you feel, and this is a critique that I might have about your videos, is that, you know, taking down someone like Tomi Lahren or like the NRA just gives them more of a platform and says that we're actually taking them seriously.
No.
And should we be taking them seriously? I mean, what's your response to that?
I think the gloves are off. Like, I'm tired of trying to elevate the discourse. Like, this is genuinely what I believe in. I think that a lot of people are still like, wait a minute, like, you know, you're giving her a platform. Yes, Tomi Lahren has had a platform.
Yeah.
She got a platform when she was much smaller and went on The Daily Show and wasn't, like, in my opinion, critiqued as best as Trevor Noah could have done. Tomi Lahren got even a bigger platform when she went on Bill Maher's show, where, again, she was able to promote her ideas openly and and not get attacked point by point. Like, you need to deconstruct her arguments if you ever have her on any sort of platform.
Why do you need to do that?
Because so many people already believe in her, and she's essentially regurgitating these like really antiquated Republican or conservative ideals. Like, it's not like Tomi Lahren saying anything new. She's talking about every single thing that every Republican sitting on a bar stool in some Rust Belt, not country club, but like Rust Belt bar says about
Rust Belt Country Club. I'm sure they exist.
Yeah, whatever. Like, it's like a redneck yacht club. But anyway, so like she doesn't bring anything new to the table. She's just young. It's like a young revitalized
young hate.
Yeah,
I like to call it.
Yeah, so
but it is
people look at
amazing to
her-
see those same tropes. That Newt Gingrich used to spout. That someone who is 25 or however old she is could just be spewing them and get a whole lot of followers by doing so. I don't know. Part of me is like, are you for real? I mean, that's I think my first question to Tomi Lahren, if I ever talked to her, was like, are you for real? Do you really
there's a lot
believe
of
what you're
old
saying?
videos of her when she was studying like broadcast journalism, or like how can I promote racist propaganda on the internet, or whatever she studied. I'm not saying she studied that, but it seems like it.
Depends on where she studied.
She was also on this like college network. Like, my fans send me a lot of dirt on her, so like I have inadvertently learned a lot about Tomi Lahren's life, more than I would ever care to know. But there was these videos where she's talking openly about climate change. She's like, it's a fact that climate change exists, but let's hear everyone's opinion on this matter. And like, and now if you hear her out, she's like, snowflakes, climate change, blah blah blah, like, doesn't exist. It's a hoax, Chinese conspiracy. It's like all of these crazy Republican talking points that she's promoting, and also the fact that she's gone back and forth on not Planned Parenthood, but at least like abortion. Makes me think that maybe deep down inside there is still some morals there. If you shed, off the makeup, and then there's like a heart where it beats, and there's empathy, and she doesn't really believe in everything that she's saying.
So she's a caricature. She's a right-wing caricature. She knows how to play it. My question to you is, are you a left-wing caricature? Are you just woke bae and you're out there talking about human rights and how Black Lives Matter?
Yeah. I go home and I'm thinking like, man, I really want to steal healthcare away from poor people. I'm just like, I wish they would die. Which, by the way, I would die as well in that instance. But like, I'm like, oh, like I
wish you would
I
die.
hate myself. Yeah, I'm like, I hate myself for not being as successful as Newt Gingrich. Like, why? And but like secretly, that's what I believe in. But I think that there's a market for it. No, it's not. Not at all. And that's precisely the reason why I, dress the way I do, I speak the way I do. Like, I could also read the news in this tone of voice as well if I'm reading off a teleprompter, and wear a suit, and it would be more palatable for like an older audience, and they'd be like, wow, this young guy really seems to have his act in order, or whatever
you
they
can wear a
would
bow
say.
tie and just the young
But
Tucker
what I'm trying to say is,
Carlson.
like, all of this is me, and with all of its faults, and with all the things I say. Like, I write all my pieces. Like, these are all my opinions.
So before we move on to the final game we'll play, what do you hope that people see your videos and take away from them? Because we talked about this earlier, that, are you preaching to the choir? What do you hope if one of Tomi's fans watches your video? You might not change their mind, but what do you hope that they take away from watching your takedowns?
The thing is, I get a lot of these messages in my DMs and my messages on Facebook as well, where people are genuinely like, listen, I really, like, I'm from, Texas or another one of these like Republican states, and I genuinely, like, I used to follow and share, like, all my friends would share Tomi Lahren's videos, and then some random kid from high school started sharing yours, and there's always like that one woke, like, progressive person who feels like they're in an island of like Republican propaganda, and they're like, wait a minute, there's finally someone who, deconstructs these arguments perfectly in ways that I would want to, but I can't. So then they share it, and then other people watch it, and they either share it because they're like, look at this fucking stupid liberal, like, douchebag.
With his chains.
Yeah, with his chains and like,
And his
whatever.
ring
He
fingers?
doesn't even know what hard work is, loser. Like, as if I'm not working. Like, whatever. But they see that, and sometimes they're like, look, you put forward a pretty reasonable argument, and I'm a reasonable person, and I saw that, and I started watching your stuff, and it's opened my eyes to a lot of different things, and that's what I do it. That's the reason why I do this, because Tomi Lahren, whether you like her or you hate her, has this massive platform where she's pushing these insanely antiquated, like terrible, fact-ridden arguments to millions of people. So if there's no one, there's just like no facts in her. It's all emotion-based.
It is all emotion-based.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's what I appreciate about what you're doing is because you clearly care. I can tell you care. And
even if I look like the kind of person who probably
wouldn't?
like bullied you in high school or something, I don't know. Like, no, but that's the thing. Like, a lot of people think that, and it's hard for them to come to terms with the things that I'm saying. Like,
but what I'm saying is, at the same time, I do agree that some of these arguments need to be deconstructed. It's like, unfortunately, we have a president who goes on 36-hour Twitter binges, and unfortunately, we have to deconstruct these tweets that make absolutely no sense because people are reading them, because people did vote for him, because, oh my God, we're not as smart as we think we are. And the anti-intellectualism in this country is off the charts, man. Like, we got a degree in that. And I think it's important to just like poke holes in these arguments. And that also often feels beneath a lot of people. Like, it feels like, oh yeah, but that's like, what are you putting out there? But first, I think it is important to take them apart so we can like rebuild what we're actually talking about.
Yeah, and it's the same exact concept of like elevate the conversation. Like, you're just being a part, you're just playing into that like divisive role that the Republicans play. It's like, no, I'm done elevating the conversation. Elevating the conversation doesn't work. Elevating the conversation gives us Hillary Clinton.
Right.
And like, when you elevate the conversation, when I watch it and I'm informed and I see the debates with Hillary Clinton versus Donald Trump in the general, and I'm like, wow, Hillary Clinton actually is doing a really good job. But normal people out there that aren't obsessed with Twitter and media and like constantly showering themselves with these insane, like, you know, with every new Republic article that comes out, or, you know, The Intercept nonstop, they're not looking at it in the same way. You can't expect people to go to Hillary Clinton's website and really dig deep and try to figure out what her policy positions are. Like, just because I did it, but that's a part of my research and a part of my job, doesn't mean that I'm expecting, you know, a blue collar like worker that lost their job because, you know, technology is taking away, like slowly eroding the job market, is not going to do that. They're going to look for the guy who sounds like them, even though he's a billionaire with a silver spoon, who was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. And they're so desperate to believe someone that they're willing to believe an orange tyrant who would never even pee in the same bathroom as them. You know what I mean? Like, he's the kind of guy who has his own personal elevator. And we look at Mitt Romney, who was like actually a nice guy in general. Like, he's like a Mormon. Like, he probably has a kind heart, but he has policy positions that I disagree with.
Sure.
Like, when he gets taken down for having a freaking elevator for his cars, and then Trump is totally fine because he's like cut from a different cloth, I don't understand that at all.
Because he doesn't speak as simply.
Yeah.
Well, I think what you're saying is meeting people on their level, and unfortunately, the discourse is so low. So why not play on that level? Not saying that you can't play on a higher level of discussion as well.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
I'm just saying, like, don't focus on my rhetoric. Sorry, I keep cutting you off, but it's like, this is something I'm very passionate about. It's like, don't focus on my rhetoric and the way I'm delivering the information. Focus on the facts and what I'm saying instead.
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But you meeting Tomi in person would be like debating her.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely. I'm fine. Like,
because maybe
I
don't know. Maybe she would, you know, have different colors show.
Well, what we're hearing is that she's scared.
She's scared.
I don't know if we'll be able to bait her into debating me. That would be great, like, honestly.
Well, Newsbroke is going to be at Politicon next weekend. I hear you're going to be there as well.
I will be there as well. I'm going to be debating Charlie Kirk. I'm really excited. He is the founder of Turning Point USA. He's like a very waspy college Republican guy.
Wow.
And that's exciting. And then I'm also going to be on a panel about refugees. That's also very exciting. I'm stoked. I'm really excited to like see, you know, a lot of fans that are coming. And I was at Politicon last year. We did a meet and greet, and I was blown away by like the massive line of people that were there to just meet Cenk for the most part, but then also take photos of me because they were like, whatever, you're here. Fuck you, you know? But it was crazy. It was crazy seeing our fans there, and I'm really excited to meet all of them.
Hell yeah. Awesome. Well, okay, before we go, we have to play our favorite game, our second favorite game, other than What Happens, is called Sext elect, overthrow. So it's like, marry, kill,
Bang.
bang, got it. Bang, kill, marry, all that. Sext, elect, overthrow. Are you ready?
I was born ready for this game, I think.
Awesome. Sext, elect, overthrow, Steve Bannon, Sean Spicer, or Jared Kushner.
Okay, never mind.
I realize the odds. Next.
I'm gonna go kill myself instead.
Honestly.
Do any of that to any of
You
the.
have to, though. You sext, elect, overthrow. Steve Bannon, Sean Spicer, Jared Kushner. Oh, this is bad.
Overthrow Steve
actually,
Bannon.
it's easy. Jared Kushner. He's a little twink. Like,
For what?
Oh, sex.
Oh, for
sex. I would
sexting?
sext. I would sext the shit out of Jared Kushner. Like, you know what I mean? He's the most palatable one out of all of them to look at least.
Do you think he's
So
like,
you would elect.
he actually speaks over text? Because in real life, he doesn't talk.
Yeah,
he's very
Only-
verbose
Yeah.
only text.
over text.
Yeah.
So then you would elect. Sean Spicer.
I would elect Sean Spicer because he's just like the same kind of Republican dummy that we've had over and over again, like Ronald Reagan or George W. Bush. Like, he would be no different.
He would look really good on a
He-
bust as well.
He would be like just a blumbering idiot, and then
Overthrow Steve Bannon.
maybe we'd have like a Dick Cheney type, nefarious like world tyrant who's controlling the entirety of the
I
government.
like how your hypotheticals become these like
yeah,
like
I'm gonna end on a
dark,
positive
dark
note.
hypotheticals.
Yeah, it's just like
This is
I
a
would,
game,
I would
Hasan.
like
It's a game.
and I would overthrow Steve Bannon off of a cliff into a volcano, and then he would somehow become more powerful.
See,
That's like
Because
a
he's-
Xenu thing, dude. That's
yeah.
like a Scientology. Then all
Yeah.
can you imagine having Steve Bannon as a
like
Thetan?
his
Ugh.
and like I'd throw him over into a overthrow him into a volcano, and then his like skin tags, like he would just devolve. He would completely become one big skin tag that would disrupt the airwaves and potentially like actually be a chemtrail.
Wow.
So maybe
you're
you should
taking
just
this
sext
game-
Steve Bannon.
Yeah.
Maybe Steve Bannon has never been
Steve
sexted.
Bannon
We
does
know
not
this. I
deserve
think
to
he
see
deserves
my
a
beautiful
sex.
penis.
You hear that? You hear
You
that,
heard it
Steve?
here first, everybody. All right, next one.
Next
I'm a little
sex. Well,
nervous.
what about you, Kate?
I mean, same.
Okay.
Samesies.
Okay. Next sex
I
elect
will
overthrow.
I mean,
Sure.
Steve Bannon doesn't deserve to see my penis either.
I don't know. He deserved to see one man's penis, and that
Donald Trump's.
is Donald J.
Okay,
Trump.
let's move on. This
J
is a
stands
little
for
much.
junk. All right. Junk.
Look what you did to us, Hasan.
Yeah,
You made
Hasan,
us
you
go
were-
here.
Sex elect overthrow Ivanka Trump, Betsy DeVos, or Tomi Lahren. Also, not the best pick of the litter, but this is the world we live in.
I really hate that there's a elect in there because I'm always like, who do I elect in this position?
I think elect Ivanka.
No, 'cause no way.
You're gonna elect Betsy or Tommy?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I would go with Tommy over Betsy any day.
I
for
think,
electing?
I think I would elect either Tommy or again because like in the end
At
of the
least
day,
Ivanka, I mean, I don't believe that she is the good side of her father. I don't believe that, but I do think that she has stood up for gay Americans and working women in whatever weird Republican way that she
the
has.
producers got up and scoffed at that, and I feel that way
I
as
mean,
well.
allegedly that she. Anyway, I
Can't
don't
elect
believe
another Trump. You can't elect
is
another Trump.
Exactly. First of all, that's also like
Also,
the biggest
hypothetical.
reason.
This is still not
Hypothetical, but let
bonding.
Hasan
No,
finish.
Ivanka Trump is the exact same like Donald Trump bullshit, but just because she's younger and prettier and like a part of the cocktail circuit that DC elite and like the New York pundits like to engage with, they think that she's going to be different. She's not different. She's in a lot of ways worse because she can hide under that like, oh, I'm pretty, I'm actually nice, like mask. That she
Right. No,
wears.
totally. Yeah.
I would
Let's-
also I really find
So-
her irresistibly attractive. So definitely
Sext.
sext her.
Okay.
Definitely
Sext
sext her. Overthrow Betsy DeVos because come on, like she's the. I mean, I don't even know what we're overthrowing. If she was president, is that what we're doing?
overthrow from the position at the moment.
Yes, overthrow 100% Betsy DeVos. And
Elect Tommy.
And yeah, elect Tommy.
Wow.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Hasan, for joining us.
Thank you for having
you
me.
all out there on the interwebs for joining Newsbroke Second. We'll do it live. Please comment, keep commenting. Let us know what you thought of this, and we will see you next Friday. We have a sketch dropping, and we think you're going to like it.
Bye.